Tonight, health officials advise as the Spencer Gulf sizzles through scorching temperatures, and Port Augusta's Arid Lands Botanic Gardens welcomes a big donation to create new public attractions.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening. An intense band of heat covered the state today, leading to severe fire danger ratings across most of the regions. But the sweltering temperatures also brings a health warning too.
Summer is coming in hot with a vengeance. Total fire bans in place and the mercury soaring to the 40s. It's a sign of sweltering summer conditions to come. While we managed to escape any serious fires today, the heat comes as a reminder to look out for each other. These heat waves can cause serious heat stress on our community's most vulnerable people, with the very real risk of claiming lives.
There's the odd tragedy where someone will pass out with the heat at home and no one calls and no one notices.
And ultimately, if it turns into a severe enough case, unfortunately some people have died as well.
So we're being urged to check in on our elderly neighbours or elderly family. But for those who don't have access to help nearby, the Red Cross has developed a phone service to call several times a day and enact emergency assistance if required.
So if people do want to register for the service, either themselves or register one of their family or loved ones, people can call 1800 188 071.
Now, the most important message on days like today is to make sure that you keep yourself hydrated, drinking between 1.5 to 3 litres of water a day.
Thirst is a really poor indicator of how much fluid you need to drink. So don't think you shouldn't drink until you get thirsty. Drink lots.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Crime is on the rise in a number of country towns in South Australia, but it's not the case for the Eyre Peninsula. The latest police statistics reveal Cleve and Cummins had the least crime per person over the last 6 years, with just 9 crimes reported in Cleve last year. Of those incidents, there were 2 assaults, 2 thefts, 3 cases of property damage, 1 break-in and 1 fraud case.
Historically, it's been pretty low. I'm not sure why that is really. I mean, we've got predominantly a rural district, and I think people just pretty much look out for each other.
Locals suggest the figures might have something to do with the rural town's higher median age, more married couples and more people working full-time. Meantime, recent figures from the Bureau of Crime Statistics show some serious offences are on the way down in Broken Hill. The report shows that over a 2-year trend, there had been a 60% decline in vehicle thefts across the Silver City. Additionally, malicious damage to property went down by 14%. It wasn't all good news though. Since October 2016, Broken Hill has seen a whopping 134% increase for cases involving possession of methamphetamine. Local police have thanked the community for their assistance in fighting crime. Residents in the south of Broken Hill can look forward to having an upgraded park area in 2019. Work has commenced on the Patton Street Park project. The local council says a key feature of the development is already taking shape.
Shovels in the ground, work is underway.
It's just fantastic that it's finally come together and we've been able to start construction. We're really excited about it.
Work on the Patton Street Park upgrades began this week. Company Omnitech was awarded the tender to install the park's new playground equipment, and they've wasted no time putting it together.
We can have a nice environment here by way of the park that people can come and lounge about in during the summer and the warmer months and get some shade and play and new opportunities for the children. It's a great thing. We're really happy to be part of it as a council.
Council crews are also on deck creating new footpaths at the main entrance. A new toilet block will also be installed, and on top of that, new solar lighting and CCTV cameras. For the time being, locals may spot the construction of the playground's centrepiece, the towering rocket ship, which used to be a staple of previous playgrounds back in the day.
We would think certainly these works will be completed by the end of Feb, into early mid-March, and then by the time we get the solar lighting and the CCTV up, we're probably looking towards the end of March or into April.
Patrick Ryanke, Southern Cross News.
Port Augusta's Arid Lands Botanic Gardens has welcomed a $50,000 contribution from Flinders Power to construct new public attractions. The donation is the energy company's second significant investment in the town in as many months.
Under this pergola sits 3 new tables and 3 neighbouring water fountains, all part of the hefty donation to the arid lands.
We were extremely excited because the cost to put all the assets into the garden is quite large.
The new outdoor area will allow visitors to sit amongst the garden's arid landscape, and volunteers have been hard at work, putting the finishing touches on the site. The $50,000 of funds will also be used to repair the garden's 38-year-old boundary fence.
We have a lot of trouble with cats coming in and foxes, and of course they destroy our marsupials and birds and reptiles.
Christmas coming early for the arid lands at the generous hands of Flinders Power.
They drag over 100,000 people in through Port Augusta, which is great for our community, so we're more than happy to donate such a worthy cause.
It comes just months after the company donated $10,000 to the police charity Golf Day. They say these investments are a way of creating a lasting legacy in the town.
To remember the people that work for Flinders Power and how much they put into the community over the years.
Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, 'tis the season for locals to flock to Jamestown's Magic Cave, with its 27th year running expected to be more festive than ever. Hello again. Broken Hill community groups who have projects which promote the city's heritage have received backing from the state government. One local historian says there are plenty of ideas which can be supported.
Broken Hill is Australia's first heritage-listed city. For many, it's important that legacy lives on well into the future.
It's great for our economy. It's great for our tourism, whatever, the things that have been happening. So, for it to continue on through this particular grant is great for this city.
The New South Wales Heritage Grants program is now open for submissions. Community groups across the whole of the Far West are encouraged to apply for projects where heritage is celebrated. It could be to produce a short film about the city's union history, repair a historic house on the State Heritage Register, or even develop an exhibition for the city's annual Heritage Festival.
There'd be other people out there that would possibly like to contribute to the festival, and probably think, no, it's going to cost us money. But if they get their plans together and their budget together and apply for a grant, they may get it.
Applications close in February.
I would urge everyone that has a little idea, sit down, expand on the idea, get some costing around it, maybe get some advice from someone that has done grants and so on, and get it in.
Patrick Ryanke, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla Youth Arts Group has won a State Theatre Award for a project focusing on extraterrestrial life. They're now focusing on reaching for the stars, taking the production to next year's Adelaide Fringe Festival.
It's a small group, but D-Faces is making big moves in the state's art community. They've won a Ruby Award, which recognises the best of SA's arts and culture industry. D-Faces won Best Regional or Rural Community Event for their Area 53 project, satirising Nevada's UFO tourism industry and conspiracy theories.
Produce more of an experience than a play, so that people would have this anticipation.
As well as a stage show, there was an interactive community experience. A Facebook group was created with videos and pictures outlining the conspiracy, while ads were placed in the local newspaper. They also turned the old Whyalla Library into an extraterrestrial research facility.
We spent a whole term making all sorts of weird animations and things in jars.
The idea was developed, researched and directed by young Whyalla locals. Those involved are thrilled to have won.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, it was amazing. Loved it. We had a great time there.
The audience got to interact with the play. They got to walk around.
And the budding alien investigators will take their show to next year's Adelaide Fringe Festival.
Part of what this organisation D-Faces is about, giving young people agency to create original work.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Well, here's some cute pictures. Over 100 school students from across the Upper Spencer Gulf have got their moment in the spotlight at a graduation ceremony for the Children's University. The program began earlier this year and encourages extracurricular learning outside of school hours, with students awarded graduate certificates for a minimum of 30 hours of effort. Children from schools in Whyalla, Port Pirie and Port Augusta all took to the stage.
We sign up with the schools directly and the children volunteer. The program is entirely voluntary. The children choose to participate into it.
This is the first year the program has run in the Upper Spencer Gulf. The Mid-North community of Jamestown has been drawing in crowds of Christmas lovers with the annual opening of their Magic Cave. Its 27th year running is expected to be bigger than ever with the addition of a new train.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Jamestown Magic Cave has been opening its doors to the public since 1991.
It's an idea that they had this cellar down here that wasn't being used and could be used for something to do with, to bring the magic of Christmas alive.
Beneath the floors of Glasgow House, Santa has been hard at work preparing a Christmas wish list for all the children in the Mid-North. The brainchild of previous upstairs shop owners Pam Sparks as well as Nell Turner and her late husband Max, with the tradition going on strong. Many children who started out visiting the cave are now all grown up and are bringing along the next generation. Now Santa, I didn't get a fire truck I wanted in 1996. I was wondering if I'd be getting that this year.
Depends how good you've been.
Oh, I haven't been that good, to be honest.
Haven't you? Well, I doubt if you'll get one then.
For Alicia Sparks and her family, spreading the festive joy has become a family tradition.
A huge part of our whole life. 27 years is grown up down here being elves when we were little, my sister and I.
More than 2,600 people visited the Magic Cave last year, and it's hoped that even more will come along this season. Jamestown's Christmas Wonderland has become a unique opportunity for children living outside of the city to get a fully festive experience. And it might just be giving the Magic Cave in Adelaide a run for its money.
People come up from Adelaide just for the day to come down here because they think it's better than the one in Adelaide.
Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
The home hardware store in the small mid-north town of Peterborough has taken out a State Store of the Year award. The shop will now be entered into a national competition, with its owners excited about what the future may bring.
Peterborough's very own hardware store is gaining state recognition after winning an award in excellence.
It's really nice that we get recognition for the hard work that the staff do, the hard work that we do.
There's something homely about this Peterborough's family business. Owners Nick and Connie Saru have worked tirelessly to create a warm and inviting culture for its customers.
Yeah, we have a process in place and we try to get the products that the customers want as soon as possible.
And it appears to be all hands on deck for every member of the family.
She gets upset if we don't bring her.
Now, you might remember Sandy from the old Home Hardware adverts. I've got her here. She's actually working full-time at Peterborough now. Finding adequate stock in regional towns can be a difficult task. For many living in the mid-north, a long drive to a regional hub is in order to find appropriate tools. This local hardware store prides itself on stocking an impressive variety.
For a regional country town, many people comment about the amount of stock that we have in the shop, and we know.
Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll see what's biting around the Gulf and in the weather. It's going to be another very hot day tomorrow, but there will be a little relief over the weekend. I'll have all the local weather details soon. Welcome back. Now it's time for Fish and Tips.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips from Port Pirie. I tell you what, yellowfin whiting are starting to jump in the boat at the moment. Most of you anglers are going to find this big hot spell that we're having will bring on the yellowfin whiting right throughout. So if you want to have a serious crab, first of all I think you need to go to Port Davis. You'll get your best numbers of crabs there. If you're looking for yellowfin whiting, we look at Talawi Beach and Barrows Beach will give you the best runs. If you actually went down to First Creek Bank, you'll find some good numbers there as well. Don't forget to look at some of the top feeding fish and garfish and all that sort of stuff at this time. You never know what you'll catch. That's all we've got. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fishing Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, summer's here but it just can't quite stay consistent. Water temperature is a little bit low and that's probably why the kingfish is still up here. They're getting catches of kingfish down around the powerhouse still, Port Patterson, but also the most prominent one is up around the top of the Gulf, up around the train bridge. It's good crabs, they're full of meat but not a real lot of them. Good size though, there's a few little sheebacks starting to get in amongst them as well. Silver whiting out in the middle banks as you'd expect for this time of year. And also some garfish if you do get a nice calm night as well. That's all we have from the Jewel North. Now it's over to Whyalla.
Hi, Whalers fishing report this week. There's been some really nice size yellowfin whiting, silver whiting coming from the Whaler foreshore area. Also, there's been some nice garfish coming off the foreshore there as well. Got to get the fresh worms or the gents for the garfish. Down towards Point Lowly land base, there's been some really nice salmon still taken from the points off the rocky areas there. Also down towards Becky Point, still some nice flathead land based. For the boat anglers, the crabs are really starting to work their way into Whyalla. Best direction has been south of Whyalla, out front of Mount Young. Still a few squid coming in from the grounds, not too many, but if you put a good drift or two in, you should be able to get a feed.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Lincoln. Starting around the bay here, the whiting have been a little bit hit and miss. Better areas to try are around the Monument to Horse Rock area. The squid have been a little bit slower this week. Might be to the fact that there's been a couple of schools of some larger kingfish up to about 1 metre. Over towards Coffin Bay, inside the bay, the Tommies, garfish and some salmon trout have been going really well. There's been a few small whiting around the leases, but the better fish have been coming from the deeper grounds at Farm Beach up towards Frenchman's and Gallipoli too. Also out towards Farm Beach there's been some good trevally around the sandhills. They've been great fun on the light gear and good for the kids too. That's about it for this week. We'll see you all again next week.
Now let's check out what's happening in the weather. But first, thanks to Pam Bennett for sending in this stunning sunset pic. It was taken at Wallaroo North Beach. What a cracking shot. Well, as mentioned, it was an absolute scorcher around the Gulf and Broken Hill today. We saw temps nudging the 40-degree mark for all centres. Port Augusta sweltered through a 41-degree day. On the satellite, it's mostly clear due to dry northerlies, which are very warm, dry and gusty. If you're trying to cool off on the waters tomorrow, we'll see southerly shifting southwesterly winds between 15 and 20 knots. Seas will be at 1 metre with a south-southwesterly swell, and sunrise will be just after 6 a.m. again. Another very hot day in store tomorrow. Port Augusta reaching a max of 42 degrees. Whyalla and Broken Hill and Port Pirie all reaching 39. It is cooling down in the west though. Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay reaching 27 with the chance of a shower. The good news is relief is on the way, especially for those in the EP, dropping down into the mid-20s for Port Lincoln and Cleve over the weekend. The odd shower forecast for Saturday. Still warm in Woodner though, with temps in the low 30s over the coming days. Again, temps will drop more than 10 degrees for Saturday. Great news for those in Port Augusta, 32 the top for Saturday. Still very warm over the weekend. Whyalla a pleasant 27, Kadina 28 the top for Sunday and Monday. And cooling down in Port Pirie and Clare for the weekend, but still warm with temps in the high 20s to low 30s. And very hot for Broken Hill this weekend, 39 the top. So summer is certainly back and it's packing a punch. And that's all the local news this Thursday. I'm Abby Donaldson. Thanks for your company and we'll see you soon.